Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2020 Mazda 3 hatchback. Up front is a 2.5 liter inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now you guys know I absolutely love Mazdas and I am so excited to be driving the redesigned Mazda 3. Mazda redesigned the 3, both the hatch and the sedan, in 2019, so this is the second model year of this body style, but it's my first go around with this new 3. So let's get back to that 2.5 liter inline 4. It's the SkyActiv-G engine from Mazda. It puts out a decent amount of power. I will put up on the screen. I've always loved the 2.5s from Mazda. I think they have a good pep in their step, and I really thoroughly enjoy driving them. For a daily driver, you know, for something just to get around town and such, it does everything I need it to do, and it still has sporty qualities. Speaking of sporty qualities, like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic. It is a true 6-speed. It is not a CVT. Mazda has not jumped on the CVT train quite yet, and I'm really hoping they keep holding off on that. I love the 6-speed. I love the automatic 6-speed. It shifts when it should. It shuts up when it needs to. I absolutely love it. If I'm going to go with an automatic, this is a great automatic to go with. It's not a dual clutch, so it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's nice, smooth, quiet. I have no complaints at all. Last but not least, this is the all-wheel drive Mazda 3. So this is new for the 2019, this updated body style, is that you could get the hatch and the sedan actually in all-wheel drive. That is absolutely huge. These smaller compact sedans and hatchbacks are finally getting all-wheel drive. Here in the Midwest, right now it's sunny, it's like 85 degrees. But in the winters, we have harsh winters here, and all-wheel drive is definitely a very, very nice feature to have during those months. Well, let's be honest, for half the year. So let's talk about the interior. There's a lot to go through with this new redesign. Well, in front of me, I have 3 main gauges. On the far left is the tachometer. In the center is a speedometer, but this is a digital screen. This is not a physical speedometer. And on the right, I have my coolant temperature and fuel. Now, I love these gauges. I think they look great. They look clean, simple, very easy to read. They look very classy as well. However, what I extremely like is that on the outside edge, it's barely noticeable. There's this sort of gear-looking pattern. I absolutely love that. I think it, reminds you that you're driving a car, and this isn't just a big iPhone like a lot of cars feel like. The steering wheel is also redesigned from the last generation, and it's a lot thinner and larger than the previous generation. It's starting to look like an older, 70s steering wheel. If it didn't have its radar cruise control settings, which, yes, this car has adaptive radar cruise control, that's controlled on the right, and on the left I have my volume, track change, and phone options. But if I didn't see that stuff, I would think that this wheel was 40, 50 years old, more classic. It doesn't look outdated, it just looks classic because the airbag is so small, it almost looks like it doesn't have one. And I absolutely love that. I think it's brilliant. To the left of me, I do have a sensor button on and off. Now, this is something new for Mazda. Basically, you can turn all of your alerts, your cross-traffic alert, lane keep assist, you can turn all that off with one button. I like that a lot because it's needless to have 8 different buttons to turn the 8 different sensors off. Odds are you really only want the sensors on or off. It's, white or black. Next to that, I have my traction control off, and then I have my memory seat options. This was one of my big complaints from the Mazda CX-5 is that it didn't have memory seats, at least the 2018 Grand Touring. Mazda is very reluctant to give a car memory seats. You really have to twist their arm in order to get memory seats, but this finally does have it. Thank you, Mazda. On the door, I have a Bose speaker that's part of the preferred package. Both that memory seats and the Bose speakers part of the preferred package. Power locks, power mirrors, and power windows. Of course, child locks, things like that. Nothing really too crazy. I think it looks really good. And moving into the center, we do have a fully redesigned as well infotainment screen. Now, in the past, I have ranted, I have shouted from the mountaintops how terrible Mazda's infotainment system is. Or, well, what I should say is was. The new infotainment system is a lot better. It's not the best in the world. However, it almost looks like it's out of a BMW or an Audi. It sort of looks that sort of way. Going off of that, it's a lot easier to use. It's simple, it's intuitive, it's great. And the cherry on top, the 2020 Mazda 3 hatch has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But I'm an Apple user, so Apple CarPlay is the big thing for me. Thank you, because the owner did not pay for the navigation package in here, but he has Apple CarPlay. He just plugs his phone in and has Google Maps, arguably, in my own opinion, the best map service there is, right there up on the screen. He didn't have to pay extra for that. Apple CarPlay came with the car. It works. It just works. I absolutely love that. One thing I really like about the infotainment screen is that there's a little circle that turns behind the screen whenever you twist the dial, which we'll talk about the dial in a second, but there's a dial down here on the center console that you use to select things. And as you twist it in real time, it twists on the screen. Even if you just go in circles, you'll just make the screen go in circles. I like that a lot. It lets you know what you're doing without staring down at the center console and taking your eyes completely off the road. Down below that, we have very small climate controls. Again, this almost looks like a 50s or 60s radio you would find in an old classic car, because you have the two knobs on either side. It's real small. Odds are back then it was just like an AM radio. This looks sort of like that. I'm sort of getting like almost a 60s Mustang vibe. I reviewed a 1965 Mustang last year. The radio, you could see the parallels. I'm not saying they look identical, but you could definitely see parallels there. I like it. It's clean, simple, dual zone. Do you want AC or not? That's it. It doesn't fluff about. I absolutely love that. Down below the climate controls, I have two cup holders, very nice. And then I have the shifter. The shifter is carried over from the last generation of Mazda 3 and Mazda CX-5 and Mazda CX-3 and CX-30 and Miata if it's automatic. Every Mazda uses the same shifter. So that's nothing new. However, what is new is down below it. I do have my controls for that center screen. They're a little bit different than the previous generation. The actual scroll wheel is wider, but it still has the feedback that I loved about the last wheel. So it's just different. It's not better or worse, it's just different. To the right of that scroll wheel, I do have my volume controls. Very nice, very ergonomic, because my hand rests by the shifter anyway. So turning up the volume is literally a wrist turn away. I absolutely love that. And to the left of that, I have my power parking brake and power holding brakes. So I can hit power hold in traffic. I hit the brake a little bit extra hard, and the car will stay put without putting it in park. And as soon as the light turns green, you just ease onto the gas and you're off. Very, very simple. Now, the seats are leather. They are comfortable. They have actually slightly high bolsters. Getting in, I definitely felt the bolsters. And bolsters are the side parts of the seats that kind of hold you in place when you take the corners. You know, you see race cars with the big metal ones. This obviously isn't a race car, but it has slightly sporty bolsters on the sides. So when you get into a corner, you're not flying all over the place. That's really, really nice. The seats are nice and comfortable. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2020 Mazda 3 hatch, and you sort of notice the windows kind of small. If you haven't noticed that already yourself, this has kind of a small rear window. It's almost level with the top of my shoulder. So, you know, take that as you will, and we'll talk about that with the styling. But the back seats back here aren't terrible. This is my driving position. My knees are hitting the seat, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Headroom, got probably about an inch above me. I'm 5'11", so 6 foot is probably gonna be the cutoff of comfortability back here. I do have a center console, 2 cup holders in there. Other than that, no real amenities. I don't get USB ports or anything like that. It's a very, very basic back seat, but it has usable, you know, this is more comfortable than a Toyota Yaris or a Kia Rio, things like that. Chevy Spark for sure. You know, it's bigger than those cars. And so you definitely feel it back here. You get more room, just not, you know, it's not a 7 Series BMW back here. So around the back of the Mazda 3, first of all, newly designed key. I'm not sure if any of you are aware of this. I certainly wasn't. Mazda redesigned their key. Try to get there, more in the light. There it is. So unlock. No power tailgate, but I mean, the room in here is great. It really is truly great. And these seats do fold down. So the rear seats go down. You can go all the way up to the front seats, which is really, really nice. Overall, oh, and I do have this privacy cover, which does come from the factory. And this button will lock the entire car. Sorry, before we hop back up front, normally I hop back up front, we talk about the looks. However, I found something out. So these handles no longer have buttons on them. The old ones, there's a button here. You just touch it. So I'll walk away, it'll lock, right? Okay, so it's locked. You just touch it, boom, then you're in. I like that a lot. You don't have to push a button, you just touch it. That is great. Now we have to talk about the looks with the Mazda 3 hatch, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan, and it's mainly for the rear quarter panel. It's small. It doesn't quite look right, at least in my own opinion. I think if I were to go with this new generation of Mazda 3s, I think I would go with the sedan. I think the sedan just has a lot more of an attractive appeal, to me at least. I think it looks better from every angle. Because the fronts are the same, but the sedan, I think, just looks better. I think it works better. However, like I mentioned, I love the front end of this car. I think the front end is really well designed. I think it looks aggressive, but not overly aggressive. It doesn't bark more than it can bite. And overall, I just think it is a good-looking car. I just think I would prefer the sedan just because of that rear quarter panel. And so now, my final thoughts on the Mazda 3 is that I honestly see myself picking up one of these in the future. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Because I honestly can't think of something that I want out of a car that this car doesn't currently deliver. I love all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive I love it. I really, really do. I think it's sporty enough. It's not the fastest thing in the world. It's not going to blow the doors off anything, but it's sporty enough. It drives really well. I love getting into this car. I would love getting into this car today, tomorrow, next week. I love it. I really, really do. It's well balanced. It's fun, but it's also simple. It's not overran by gadgets. I know how to use the infotainment screen. My phone plugs right in. I just wish, my only wish for this car is that I wish that Mazda just made the rear window for the rear doors a little bit bigger and made the blind spot a little bit smaller. That's all I really want out of this car. That's it. I cannot think of another thing that I would want. Yes, they're coming out with a turbo model, but honestly, this is great. This makes a great amount of power. I really love the new Mazda 3. That's it. And so in my nearly 400 video reviews I've done here on the channel, I've never done something like this before. Now the video that you guys just watched was of a 2020 Mazda 3 hatchback all-wheel drive. This is a 2019 Mazda 3 hatchback in all-wheel drive. My 2019 Mazda 3 hatchback in all-wheel drive. That's right, after I reviewed that video was filmed on a Friday, today is the following Thursday, I picked up my very own Mazda 3 all-wheel drive hatchback. That's how much I loved the car in the video review. And I know in the review I said, oh, I would probably get a sedan because of the rear look of it. Well, a hatchback better fits my life. And so I will be doing a full review on my own personal Mazda 3 hatchback that'll be coming to the channel some point in the future. But I wanted to get the point across out there that I love the car so much, I literally went out, purchased one, and locked myself in for 5 years worth of payments over this car. I absolutely love it. And so if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about Mazda 3 all-wheel drive hatchbacks, please let me know in the comment section down below. But let's finish this video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Max for letting me take out his brand new 2020 Mazda 3. Proud of him for picking this thing up. This is absolutely awesome. I think he made a very, very smart decision. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.